It's the first elections in Zimbabwe since Mugabe was removed from power. Well, now people there reacting, as we saw in the reports there, on the streets, protesting against what they see as an unfair election. And this is some user-generated content brought to us via the Storyful social media news agency from, they say, central Harare, showing groups of people. It was in these clashes in central Harare that the army then intervened, and we've heard conflicting reports about the number of people who were killed, at least 3 people killed in these protests there. The video's just frozen a bit there, but you see plumes of smoke and large crowds in the centre of town. So we've also seen social media being used by the politicians. ZANU-PF, the ruling party, blaming the opposition on social media on behalf of President Mnangagwa for these violent clashes. That's something, of course, they dispute. The president himself tweeting that he wants to see all sides come together and resolve this situation peacefully. As this day that ended in tragedy, he says, comes to a close, I implore all political and community leaders to come together, seek peace and pursue it. Well, ordinary people are blaming perhaps the politicians for pursuing this division over other things. This one user pointing out, he's a lawyer in Zimbabwe, saying it's strange that the president is the one calling for peace. Only the president, he says, has the authority to send in the army, and yet that's what's happened. So it seems strange the man who might have called on the army to go and quell these protests and bring back order is the one also calling for peace. So there's people disputing the president's accounts of how things are going. Then there's this user, Job. He is a long-time critic of Mugabe. This is a post from his Facebook page in which he says, gunshots at my house as I speak. My family is scared, but I am reassuring them that I am prepared to die and they should move on if people are trying to kill me. Now, this user, Job, lots of posts underneath this asking how he is, what's going on. As yet, his situation is not clear. It's unverified. Just want to bring this one up here from a lady in Zimbabwe on Facebook as well, saying it's a sad day for her to be a Zimbabwean, to see witness innocent people die at the hands of the army. The political place and use of force has cost innocent lives. And I think one thing we're seeing in social media comments from Zimbabwe is that ordinary people are united behind the idea that it is not worth ordinary people dying, innocent lives being lost in a clash between political factions in the country. Let's just bring up this post here, which I think sums it up, really. Sadly, it's not the politicians who die. They will ask you to defend your vote unarmed whilst they move with security. And this comment here is scathing. They are probably discussing today's events over whiskey at some posh hotel. Contrast this with the poor families who are waiting in order to bury their loved ones. So there is a sense among ordinary people in Zimbabwe that these political clashes are not worth innocent lives being lost. So we will stay across this story and what ordinary people in Zimbabwe are posting on social media.